Ranking every One Piece arc from worst to best. I'm gonna do this the way Swag Kage did in his Naruto fight video, so let me get this started. This arc is overhated, but it's definitely the worst, especially if you're watching the anime. It gets dragged on for way too long, but in the manga it's about 20 chapters. It's just some lighthearted fun. They just introduced Aokiji randomly in this arc, and the way they did it was so cold. Bro, he was just riding his bike on the fucking sea. Usopp is one of my favorite characters, but he is so annoying in his arc. The Black Cat pirates kind of suck too, and nobody is really threatening, which is a complaint you can have for a lot of early One Piece because the villains are pretty lacking. But there are some good parts of this arc, but it's definitely the worst out of the East Blue. This was basically showing each character and their new outfit because it's post time skip. That's cool. Not much happens, and it doesn't drag on. It's only like 5 chapters. This introduces Buggy, who's a fun character, but not really in this arc. Kinda like with Usopp, how I don't like him when he's introduced, but I like him later on. This arc was okay. Not too much to comment about though. This one's basically just prologue. It just shows Luffy, his motivations, Shanks, and Zoro. This arc was very quick, and it basically just lets the crew get into the Grand Line, and Laboon is pretty cute and is pretty important later on. This is right after Luffy gets his ass kicked by Kuma and gets teleported. He meets Boa, who really wants him, and Luffy decides to go help Ace. I think the arc is okay. It's really short. I really like this arc because of the 2 giants. They're really cool. But even though this arc was only 15 chapters, it felt so long. I didn't like the Mr. 3 fight. I thought it was really boring, so it brought down the arc for me. Baroque Works is pretty cool, and Zoro fighting the whole entire town was super dope. And also, we get this amazing moment from the 4Kids dub. Luffy gets his first bounty, probably my favorite power ranking system, and Smoker is a badass, and Dragon comes out of nowhere to save Luffy. I like the Minks, and some cool foreshadowing with the elephant. Also sets up the whole Cake Island arc. I fucking hate Caesar. He is so annoying. One of my least favorite villains in all of One Piece. But Law is in this arc, so it makes it better. I think this arc gets overhated. It's pretty good, but it didn't live up to the hype of Jaya. I think it gets dragged on for too long, but it did introduce Haki and foreshadowed Luffy's final form, which is really cool. This is my least favorite trope of storytelling, and that's miscommunication, where the plot only develops or people fight just because they don't know what's going on, and that happens for the whole beginning of this arc, which is so annoying. But we do get to see Jinbei, and also we get to see what the crew was working on the past 2 years. I fucking hate Gecko Morai. Moria? I don't remember how to say his name. He's a bitch. I don't even want to know how to say his name. The worst villain in One Piece. He drags down the arc so much. But this arc does have some really good moments. Like the Zoro saying nothing happened. And Zoro, Sanji, and Kuma. I like the moment that they had. And Brook is pretty cool too. Garp is one of my favorite characters, and this arc introduces him. Also, you get to see Kobe and how he's changed. And Frankie joins the crew, and they also get a new ship. Sanji and his backstory is great. I love Zeph, and the way Mihawk absolutely bodies Zoro is so hype. This felt like fan service, and not in the big titties way, but in the way that all the characters that know Luffy get together and start fangirling over him, which is super fun. Chopper's backstory is so sad. The quote from the doctor is the only thing that made me cry in the whole entire series. But even though I love this arc, the main villain, Wappo, fucking sucks. I feel like Zoro himself could just body him. The backstory of Luffy, Sabo, and Ace is really good. I didn't think there was more to add to Luffy's character, but here we are 600 chapters into the series. Nami's backstory is so good. This arc still has some of my favorite moments in the series, like when Luffy puts his hat on Nami, everyone pulls up to beat Arlong's ass. Also, Arlong is the best villain in the East Blue, and it's not even close. Sanji somehow gets even more character development, and it's super far into the series. I also really like his backstory, and it's not even close to what I thought it would be. Jinbei also joins the crew. Brook was really good, and the fight with Katakuri and Luffy is really good. And Big Mom is still a top tier villain. The punch. That's all I really need to say. Also, Luffy gets his $100 million bounty. Bon Clay is the MVP of this arc. Buggy's also pretty cool, but Bon Clay brought life into this arc. Also, the concept of the prison is really cool. This shit was so hype. The worst generation was introduced, Haki was shown more, Kuma bodied the whole entire crew, Rayleigh, the punch for like the second time. This was the most satisfying and hype thing to happen in the series. That stupid, ugly ass celestial dragon got fucked by Luffy. And the way they did this in the anime was super cool. Oden is such an amazing character. He's so good that you forget that this is just a flashback. He won't be in the series anymore. The drip on every character is super clean, although Kaido leaves a lot to be desired. He doesn't really live up to the hype. Sure, he's strong, but his character is ass. His whole character is, I'm strong and I want to fight strong people. That's it. But the animation in Wano is really good. I just think it drags on for a bit too much. I'm pretty sure it's the longest arc, like 170 chapters. Kinda crazy. It's hard to decide between this or Wano, but I think Alabasta edges out Wano because it's shorter. It also has a better villain with Crocodile, who's super threatening. Vivi is also a really good addition to the crew, temporarily. I wish she went with them because she's amazing, but Robin joins instead of her, which at the time I thought was kind of crazy, but I'm glad that that happened. Rob Lucci carries the fuck out of CP9. They would be like one of the worst villain groups ever without him. When Chopper, Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro go to the Frankie house and absolutely destroy them. It's one of my favorite moments in this arc. Robin leaving the crew to protect them, and the whole conspiracy around that is pretty cool. Sanji is also a W in this arc. Frankie's backstory is really good, and Tom is a great character. I really felt for them. The train ride to Enies Lobby was really good too. And also Luffy versus Usopp is one of the best moments in the series as a whole. Robin crying for help is one of the best moments in One Piece. Also when Usopp shot the world government flag, it was so hype. We have Gear 2 Luffy. Also the monster form of Chopper where he can't control it. And also when they say goodbye to the merry-go. Moments in this arc are so high. The backstory with Law. Corazon is one of my favorite flashback characters. That made me love Law even more. Doflamingo is one of the best villains ever. Like, even outside of One Piece, he's still one of the best villains of all time. The Colosseum to get Ace's Devil Fruit is cool. Bartholomew is also such a funny character. The twist about the toys is really sad. And the same with the Smile Fruit. That shit is fucked up. Even though this arc was about 100 chapters, it didn't feel that long, which is really impressive. Also, I heard that the pacing in the anime is really bad, so that's tough for people who watch the anime. And also, God, Usopp. I'm pretty sure this is a common opinion, but it makes sense because this arc is so crazy. It has so much in only 30 chapters. Ace's death got spoiled for me, so it didn't hit me like it would for a lot of other people. But I didn't get Whitebeard's death spoiled for me, so when it happened, I was so surprised. The fights in this were really good. Also, the moment where Whitebeard put all his trust in Luffy before he died was great. This arc really emphasized the brutality of the Marines. Like, these motherfuckers do not care at all. Their way of justice is crazy. Alright, that's about it. I know some of y'all won't agree because One Piece has such good arcs and they're really consistent. Y'all could have this ranked completely different from me. But yeah, my top 3 is Dressrosa, Enies Lobby, and Marineford. Let me know your favorite arcs down in the comments. And yeah, that's about it. See y'all next video.